I have been an artist entrepreneur since I was a young teenager. I have spent my life making my own jobs, and you can too. My name is Kathleen Laziza, and I am the Executive Director of Micromuseum. This series is called Make It Your Own. It is designed to encourage people to use their talents for their own personal economic development. Because in 21st century America, there are no jobs. Nobody owes you a job. You have to make your own job. And this is what artists do every single day. This series is not advocating that you personally become an artist, but rather that you learn to think like an artist. Listen to these artists talk about their experiences. Episode 2, Inspiration is not mandatory.
I don't know artistically that I reward myself enough, that I don't tend to. I'm thinking about the next problem, the next issue, the next project, and sitting in the success of it or sitting in the joy of the completion of it. I'm more, unfortunately, it's the same with learning. I'm on to the next thing, or I'm thinking about what I don't know versus valuing what I do.
Starting as a drummer, I learned really early on that for me it was so meditative amongst so much other shit. For me it was like, obviously growing up in Brooklyn, you're a kid, you fight, you wrestle with your friends, whatever. But for me it was like if I ever had any real frustration, real sadness, real depression, or anything like that, all I had to go do was hit the drums. So it entered into my life so early, but I didn't care about being an artist or anything. It was for me, it was just like, all right, yeah. I just beat the crap out of some drums, and now I feel good.
And now you feel good,
I feel like we are in a very special and important time right now, and people, though you'd like to be able to say to people, yeah, if it's not your way to be an activist, it's okay for you to sit this out, but at this point it's really not. So I'm constantly trying to figure out how to use my creativity to get people to step up and take ownership of turning especially the climate situation around.
One thing it makes me think about is the unknown. It's like all of these techniques are about getting in touch with the unknown and being okay that it's unknown.
I have all these biblical analogies because I also think of myself as like, there's the shepherd, and the shepherd goes out and, and like works and tends to the sheep, you know what I mean? And so I tend to sheep, and that, so, that ultimately, I was thinking about friendship the other day, and I was thinking about, the mark of a really good friendship is that like you both save each other. Right? So like the friendship saves you in some way and you save them, right?
All cultures make art, and we find ways and time because it's physically and spiritually important for us.
It happened the same way for me. It just kind of happened. As I said, like when I started experimenting with the medium, everything made sense. It was like, this was what I was supposed to be doing, The best way the best metaphor I could use is like a hemorrhage, essentially. When a vessel, the pressure builds beyond a certain point, a release is necessary, and it was a psychic release, and then it was also a physical release. And that two-sided process was it was kind of miraculous to me.
But in terms of my other works, the ones that are not racially charged, all of them have elements of things that I enjoy, like history. I'm a huge history fan. I love research. I love medieval time and the Renaissance and the Prohibition era. And I love sword fighting, and I love using weaponry and European battle. So a lot of my plays are comic plays about sword fighting.
As an artist, you kind of create spaces that didn't exist before. So it's like, what can happen, like for me, it's like ideally, if I can tap into the void, that like actually create the void or create this emptiness that all of a sudden, because not all art is pleasant. And I feel like this creating of spaces, and if you look at all, like for example, I consider technology a completely art form. If you look at what Steve Jobs did, he literally created spaces. Like we have all these spaces that we didn't even know exist.
How do you overcome your self-doubt when you start to do new things, when you want to make a new piece? And then
Overcome.
you don't know. Maybe it's like a hesitation. What is overcome this, or how you started? Whatever. But is there anything you could say that
Do deadlines count?
right.
It almost is like magic. Some things just come out. I work with a lot of young artists, and because I agree, with exactly what you said, that things might already be there. We're just kind of unlocking them. I tell every young artist that, when it comes to inspiration, just keep your mind as open as you possibly can, because if there is this thing that's out there and all we're doing is kind of unlocking it, how are we going to unlock it if we have closed minds? You know what I mean? So I think that there's something to be said about like anything being able to influence you if you have that open mind. If someone hears a track and they go, I hate that track, or that painting sucks. All right, but what don't you like about it? Because that's only going to make things that you like, define why you like them, and that should be respected, and that should be taken in too.
Here are 3 steps to remember. Step 1. Always schedule time for yourself to practice, because every day is another day to get good at what you like to do. Step 2. Picture yourself in 5 years' time, and then work every day for that picture. Step 3. Thinking helps, but doing is better. Stop talking about it and start doing it. To learn more about this series, make it your own, visit micromuseum.com.